Hello, and welcome to this space. My name's Dex, and I thought that today we would talk a little bit about Valentine's Day. Kirby's gonna be here to help me a little because they're shaped like a friend. And essentially, what I wanted to talk about today was, in case anybody who is going through it today, whether it's for a heartbreak reason or just like the holiday makes you feel extra lonely, I wanted to affirm anybody who is going through some emotional stuff. Partially because, and this was sort of, I guess, inspired because I generally like Valentine's Day is just not really an important holiday to me. It just isn't. It's a scam. You can have and celebrate love with people around you or people that you love or care about at any point in the year. But on a couple days ago, just earlier this week, I had gone to Target to pick up some dairy-free ice cream for my sip because they wanted some, and the shelves where the ice cream were like, and were just wiped. There was like barely any ice cream left, like of any kind. And I was really confused about why that was the case. And then I was reminded by the person that I was going with that it's Valentine's Day this week. So people are a little maybe heartbroken or feeling lonely, and I wanted to affirm for anybody who is going through that right now that it's going to be okay. It's also valid to have these feelings, but also this holiday is not a marker or any kind of way to value or even think about yourself. It's a day that happens in the year, and you don't need to have a person in your life specifically that wants to celebrate this holiday with you, or people that want to celebrate this holiday with you, for you to be worthy and valuable and also like deserving of love. It doesn't mean that you're not deserving of love if you don't have specific plans for today. My plans for today are actually to be, I'm going to be at an event vending, but it's specifically an anti-Valentine's Day event. And I just feel that it's important for people to know that it doesn't determine your value or worth being with another person at any time of the year. If like ever, you know, those are not the things that give you worth. Having a partner is not what makes you a valuable person or an interesting person even. And at the same time, I think that loneliness that people feel often is projected to be, or sort of made to be, about, oh, I'm not in a partnership. But that loneliness is really more about not feeling connected to community. It's not something that one other person, or even if you're having partnerships with more than one person, that's not even necessarily going to like fill the void or fill the hole, or like that feeling of isolation or loneliness can be poured into when you need care or nurturing by so many kinds of relationships that you can build and have in your life. And I think there are so many different kinds of relationships and different kinds of dynamics that you can have with people. Like, not there's not just romantic or platonic. You can have mentors, you can be a mentor, you can have chosen family, you can have siblings that are not biologically related to you, you can have people that are healers to you, you can be a healer to other people, you can be in so many different kinds of spaces, like plugging into, like, whether it's like a sport that you like to do or activities that you like to do or a hobby that you like to do, that you can plug into and be with other people and feel community. If community that is like that is helpful because it is organized around identity. I am in a lot of those spaces for myself, and also because being in community helps me feel like I can be also of service to and help other folks that are either like me or share community with me. These are all things that help you feel like you can connect and you can feel um, invested in and cared for. And it's not to say that you're wrong or bad for having feelings about, oh, like people don't like pour into me, or I don't feel like my needs are being met, or this holiday triggers like feelings of like I have been abandoned before in my life, or am or I don't even have, like, I don't have friends to hang out with, or I don't have a significant other. I hate that term, just by the way, but if that's how you're thinking about it, you know, like, it's valid to feel upset or overwhelmed or sad even about not just not being in a space where you're feeling that. And it's important that you are recognizing those needs, if those are things that are happening for you, or if those are things that come up for you. And I just want to affirm and validate that that's true, that it's real and valid that you are feeling those things. But I do want to tweak your perspective a bit, because those things, it's not about deserving. I feel like everybody is deserving of love, and I feel like it's it's a very capitalist construct to feel like I need to earn love or earn positive things or earn even feelings of fulfillment and contentment or happiness. Everybody deserves to have happiness or contentment or feel like they are loved and to be loved. The point and the point is not whether or not you deserve it. There's just also, like, in order to maintain relationships or to be in spaces or communities where you are receiving love or being cared for, even, those things require you to recognize, okay, this is what I need. How do I get it? Rather than having or being in a like self narrative or constantly telling yourself like I am too hard to love, or people just don't like me, or I'm too complicated, or I have too many needs. It's valid to feel that way, but it's not true. Everybody deserves to be in spaces where they feel loved. And what that looks like for you and what is accessible to you and what you want to do with that, like where you want to spend your time, these are all personal, right? All of these things change from person to person. Figuring out what that looks like for you and where you want to be. If you're not feeling supported by, for example, your biological family, and you don't feel held or feel loved by them, then where are other ways that you can build family and where are other ways you can plug into family. Also, recognizing and shifting your understanding of the relationships that you already do have, where where are spaces where I can pour love into other people, and like how do we change the dynamics in the relationships that I already have where other people can pour into me or other people feel more comfortable pouring into me. And there's a lot about like weird rules about how like vulnerable or intimate or close you can be with other people. And obviously, this shifts, and there's levels of appropriateness from different relationships or dynamics or spaces or people that like people to you. I'm not saying that you can be like as intimate in certain with certain people that like that is just not that's not what I'm saying. It's just that there is a lot more vulnerability, and there can be a lot more ways that you can envision family or closeness or people like getting to know your needs or helping you, and also vice versa. Then I think like socially, people can grasp, or like there are certain like weird rules about, for example, like your romantic partner, if you have one, is supposed to be able to like manage all of your needs. um, and if you're feeling upset or insecure in literally any way, then it's usually something that is projected onto your romantic partner to handle or deal with. um, when you can build like a network of lots of different kinds of relationships. You can also have more than one romantic partner, um, or just partnerships in general if you're not um, allo-romantic. I'm not. Um, there are so many ways that you can have like people checking in on you, or like having long calls with friends that you really love, or chosen family that knows how to take care of and knows how to listen to and hold space for you. These are all things that do not come just because you want them to. All relationships require an investment of energy and care. So I'm not saying that it's just because you deserve love, then you're just gonna get it. Does that make sense? You have to recognize, okay, these are the spaces that I need care, or I need nurturing, or I need to build relationships. How do I do that? How do I reach out to people? How do I show that I care about them? How do I show that I am willing to invest time and energy into them? It can be very, very scary and vulnerable. And I recognize there are different attachment patterns, and just like how people cope with um, having abandonment or neglect scars, like just feeling like if I like, oh, what happens if, or I have a history of like me doing things for people or me helping people out, and then all I get is like people like either using me or exploiting me or like not coming through for me. And I get it. These are things that I'm also working through and have worked through. And it's a continual process. But I wanted to say, keeping that narrative going and going and going, you could do that to yourself for your whole life. You could tell yourself, I either whether it's like don't deserve this, or like I'm not gonna put in the work because other people have hurt me before. You're It's not even just going to be unfair or just not true for everybody who comes into your life. You're actively like pushing people away that can help and help like grow and heal with you, you know? And I'm personally like, this is something that is also on my mind because I know people and have like personally like not necessarily been this person to an extent where I was pushing absolutely everyone away, but there were a lot of times of self-sabotage in my life where I didn't let people get close to me, or I specifically would not choose or not try um, to like have like or plug into like community in like the spaces that I was living in. So I would always have like connections to people online, and that was like really important. And I feel like online friendships or partnerships need to be like validated for sure. And like those kinds of relationships have like really fostered me and helped me grow in so many ways. But parts of it too were I didn't let people that were like physically in the spaces or in the environments that I was in like get near me, because I was really scared of like being rejected or being used, or like me showing care or me showing like interest in even being friends, and like people falling through or not coming through or not or like just not liking me, you know? And it's valid again to have those fears. It's valid to be upset about those things, or to even have those thoughts. But recognizing that you can have community and there will be people who do like you for who you are, I think is really, really, really important. It can be really life saving, like literally life saving. And it's a natural human need to be and like to need people. It doesn't mean that you're being selfish. Like recognize also that other people need to be poured into as well, not just you. I think that's important to know, but it's not selfish to know that you need community or know that you need relationships that feel like you are being held or supported. Like it's not. It's just not. And these are things that I think can show up in a lot of ways. And for some people, it's really, really, really hard to open up. Um, but sometimes it can be even to the degree or the point to like you're not just pushing people away, like people who have already gotten close to you or have done a lot of work to care for and support you, like feel like actively hurt because you're like so scared of getting close to people that like and like distancing people that you're not recognizing anything that they've done for you, which can be really unfair and hurt a lot. And recognizing like when you need to be on a bridge with someone but you can't be there. I think parts of it too, and then but like also continuing to be in this space where you don't feel like you have friends or you don't feel like you have relationships that are that you feel like where you feel close to anybody. And it's important, I think it's super, super, super important to recognize you're not always going to be there and your circumstances are going to change. But know, and also knowing like what are ways that you can be kind and gentle to yourself and recognize what you actually need, and what ways that you might be preventing yourself from recognizing that those are the things that you need, or even preventing yourself from getting those things. And not everything is just about your own choices, but loving people and having love in your life is a lot about choice, a lot about continuously choosing people, choosing to talk to people, choosing to maintain relationships, choosing to show care, choosing to to be open or vulnerable in certain ways, or choosing to go do things with people, or choosing to like or invite people over. And it can be hard, but I also want to shift the perspective that it's impossible, because it's really not. I think everybody and so many people feel lonely. You know, everybody has felt that way in at some point in their lives, and I feel like people really tend to yearn connection, and it's valid that people feel like they don't have that, but it's something that you can build and work, like look for and do, and find spaces where that is a thing that can happen for you. Sorry if this was kind of naggy. I hope this was affirming and helpful in changing how you're seeing love and how you can let it into your life. It literally does not have to be a romantic partner at all. Like, it just doesn't. And at the same time, having and building more relationships and accepting that you are a person who requires connection, and like just being in spaces where you're choosing to be in connection with other people when it's right, or when you meet someone or people that feel like ready for that or want that with you. That's how it happens. That's when it happens. It's not about deserving it or not, or like being good enough to not be single. Being single is great. Like, not it's not about whether you deserve it or not. Everybody deserves whatever kinds of love that they need, right? Choosing to be in spaces or being like receptive to that is a different thing, and that's actually, I think, the real, like, what people should be focusing on instead, versus like continuously doing a lot of self-deprecation and hating themselves. Well, again, it's understandable why you would feel that way. There's a lot of messaging in media about just being, if you're if you're up to a certain standard, or if you're this kind of quality of human, then that's when you will never be lonely. And that's just not how it works. Like, it's literally not how it works at all. And I just wanted to remind you of that. So, thanks for spending some time with me today. I hope this was helpful to someone, and whoever really needed to hear this message, that it gets to them in some way. Anyway, me and Kirby are signing out. See you next time.